This is Tell Me What to Read, the podcast of Booktopia.com.au. I'm Nick Wasiliev, and today we are delighted to roll out the red carpet for a special takeover episode on our channel. Today, Cathrine Mahoney and Sarah McGilvray from Not Another Parenting Podcast, which you can check out over on NovaFM, come into our HQ studio to talk about Cathrine's brand new book, Currently Between Husbands. Check the show notes below for timestamps, and if you enjoy our content, drop us a review on Apple Podcasts, a like on Spotify, or wherever you are listening to our show. You can also find links to all books mentioned in the description below, or head to booktopia.com.au. Now, without further ado, Cathrine Mahoney and Sarah McGilvray from Not Another Parenting Podcast.
Well, this is exciting, Cathrine Mahoney, because you and I have been, we're taking over the Tell Me What to Read podcast for today. I know.
I've locked the door. We can say whatever we want.
I know, I can see them through the glass, but they can't stop us. So I'm Sarah McGilvray, you're the beautiful Cathrine Mahoney, and we're the hosts of Not Another Parenting Podcast. And the reason we've been given the keys to the castle is that you, my special friend, have written a book.
Can you believe it?
I know.
And it doesn't even have any pictures. It has loads of words.
Imagine what pictures it would have had.
It would have had pictures that you wouldn't be able to talk about anywhere in the podcast.
Currently Between Husbands is your book. Available now?
It is available now,
yes.
Through Booktopia.
Absolutely.
And anywhere.
Yeah.
In my house, my garage. I've got loads in my garage. My mum was like, you should get a lock for the garage.
You should.
I'm like, wow, if there is a burglar in Sydney that really just wants 100 of my books, go for it, mate.
Black market for books. I love that.
Oh my gosh, what a start we had.
I know.
Didn't we?
We've come into this amazing little setup they have here at Booktopia in the warehouse, and we're doing this podcast. And I mean, you've gone, and I'm not judging you to shove your hand straight in the lolly jar because I sat in the car and ate a violet crumble before you got here. So I feel your pain. You've smashed a mini Mars bar, then you've tried to move your chair back and snapped one of the legs off.
Legit, I've broken the chair. I don't think if I'd sat on that chair pre-Mars bar that it would have broken. I am blaming the mini Mars bar. I know, it's not often that you come into somebody else's space and break stuff.
Yeah,
sober, is it?
You're like a toddler. You are like a toddler.
I am. I dropped my jumper earlier, didn't I, down the street? And then I had to go to the toilet before we started.
You did too.
I did. I know, but I'm all ready to go. And I've got a water, and I've got about 20 minutes before I start to cry about something you won't give me.
No, don't be like that. We are here. We've taken over the podcast.
We should tell people how we know each other.
Well,
because you're not some random I picked up, are you?
I was
on some dating app.
I was waiting for an Uber out the front. You said, "Hey, you look like you're tidy.
Yeah, like you."
No, we worked together at Nova Radio.
Yes.
And after that we sort of just became coffee friends. Two people who like to take a half hour to drink a piccolo. When we both had other things to do.
No, you can really draw a piccolo out on company time, can't you?
Do you know what? It's the modern day ciggy. I wasn't going out for a ciggy break. You and I said, let's go have a coffee. Turns out they were really little coffees. Shouldn't be penalised for not ordering a schooner.
Or vaping. Anyway, but just to backtrack, not only did we work together, but you was on the radio.
Yeah.
You were like on the radio, so you, Fitzy and Whipper.
Yeah,
So if people think they recognise your voice, they do. And you, my friend, have been on the side of a bus.
Yeah.
Well, I've just been on the back of a bus, having a snog or a pash back in the day.
And who hasn't thrown up on a bus? So we can all relate on a bus story.
I've never thrown up on. I've gone
Really?
to toilet on a bus, a coach trip to Switzerland for the school, and it was just one of those horrible things where there were boys from like your year that would stand by the toilet and go, oh, she's done a poo. Even if you hadn't, it was gross.
Sorry, my workmates do that now when I say I'm going to the loo. That's exactly, yes, because they are children.
In their 40s.
Hold on, so I guess you would have never done like a Kentucky or something because
No, because I lived
English.
there.
Yeah.
I lived there. No, but I went to Ibiza.
That doesn't count.
I went to snogged Robbie Williams. That's in the book.
Well,
in Ibiza.
Let's
Thanks very
do
much.
this. I want some stories from the book. I mean, Robbie Williams, that's pretty up there. How did you end up with your tongue in his mouth?
Well, and sadly it was only his tongue in my mouth. That's as far as the story with me and Mr. Williams went. I was like 19. He'd just left Take That, which was big news. He'd just been to Glastonbury with the Oasis brothers, rock and roll. And I was working in Ibiza during my summer off university. I was wearing a tutu. and a very small child's T-shirt from Marks and Spencer's with Minnie Mouse on. Stay with me. It was the 90s and I had a good body.
You cannot just blame a time in the past for a look. I mean, I guess you can actually, but really.
Come on.
Yeah.
And I had very thin eyebrows, I'm sure. Anyway, we were in Cafe Del Mar, the iconic, kind of, I suppose, night spot in Ibiza. Knew that he was on the island. It was big news with everybody that worked there. We were all hoping for a glimpse. And then, lo and behold, he needed a wee at the same time I did, and he was in front of me in the queue. So I just tapped him on the shoulder and said,
put your tongue in my mouth.
Pretty much. I said, can I snog you? To which he said yes. I had a snog, and then sadly the toilet door opened and he left.
How many people can claim to have made out with a celebrity, like big name superstar, at the front of a portaloo?
It wasn't
disgusting.
a portaloo.
In my head,
it was in Cafe Del Mar, but there was just 2 toilets, and there was a lot of people, a lot of clubbers there. But so that was great.
In my head, you look like Emma Wiggle, but without the right colours on, and you've just mauled Robbie Williams, but in my head he sort of looks more like Ed Sheeran, the modern day equivalent, and you've just put your tongue in his mouth at the front of a portaloo. There's the story in my head.
I love Ed Sheeran's music, but I would not ask him for a snog. And talking of Emma Wiggle, just to take it back to the Not Another Parenting podcast and the fact that you are a mum, even though for people that haven't listened to the pod, we talk about nothing really to do with being parents doing. Your son loves Emma Wiggle and dresses like Emma Wiggle.
Yes, he does. We have an inflatable big red car. We've got outfits. He cracked it with me the other day because the outfit didn't come with the bow. And I thought, I'm not letting you wear the bow to school because I don't care if he wears a bow, but I just know what he's like with putting hats on and off because it doesn't look quite right. I don't know what's going on with my kid now that I say it out loud as an almost 3-year-old. But hang on. We jumped straight to a Robbie Williams story. I didn't even let you explain what the book is about.
I know, but I think
I was so taken.
That's the beauty of a podcast, isn't it, Sarah? It's just a rambling, 2 people having a chit-chat, and hopefully the listeners will just feel like they're at the table with us, eating the mini Mars bars and breaking chairs just quietly and not asking things.
No, start at the beginning with the book. Okay. Tell me.
So the book is called Currently Between Husbands. It's a memoir. I love saying that word. I'm only 47. I'm hoping there's more life to come. But it's up until recently. So my elevator pitch, as they say in the business, Sarah, is Currently Between Husbands is like Bridget Jones meets Eat, Pray, Love, but with less yoga, more vodka and bigger undies.
Excellent.
And basically it just journals my life falling apart and finding myself between husbands.
But you started, and I was there, obviously. You were in a full-time job. You were working with me, radio station, the whole bit. And obviously there was always, you are a creative person and there's always been a story to tell there. You've had this really exciting history. I know you sort of brush over it, but it is, compared to the rest of us.
Go to bed at 9:00, listeners, in case you think I'm some kind of like crazy previous life.
No, but you think about how the everyday person, how the rest of us live our lives. Like you've had this phenomenal life full of adventures and all these ups and downs. But you're in full-time employment. You're sitting in the office doing what everyone does, the 9 to 5. And suddenly you said, no, there's got to be something else for me. That's a huge moment. What went through your head? What was the sort of build up to saying, no, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave my job.
Look, it was a slow process. I had always loved telling stories and making people laugh. And that's what I just did. When my marriage ended, I was married to a well-known sports person who meant, writing some of the things I did was a little bit, could have been a headline, So as I like to overshare with my stories. So when the marriage ended, I got a website, I started to write my funny stories. Because I worked in the media, I could reach out to people like Kids Spot and Nine Honey and say, look, I've written this, don't know if it's any good. And they started to publish it. And before I knew it, I got a column. All the psychics that I've spoken to, and as you know, I've spoken to about 30, and I've spent a small fortune on them. They all said, you're going to write a book. It's going to be a bestseller. It's going to help, mums and dads. It's going to make them laugh. And so
amazing.
I always knew I was going to do this thing. And working in breakfast radio, I thought, well, that's great. By the time we finish work, I can go home and write my book before I do school pickups. But as you know, working on breakfast radio hours means when you leave the office, you just want to have a sleep.
You want to lie down and never get up.
You want to lie down and forget that you have a child to pick up at 3:30. So I was just never getting to write this book I wanted to. So in the end, I took a leap of faith, spoke to my mortgage broker and went, hey, Mortgage Steve, I'm about to give up my job and have no income. So can we squirrel away a little bit of money so I can live for the next 6 months? And that's kind of, that's what I did.
It's so incredibly brave. Like, it really is. Do you ever think about that? Like, it really, it's amazing. Like,
I think I just keep hurtling forward. Don't look back, just keep going. But I started a podcast, and I'm telling you like you don't know. Obviously, you know the size of my, yes, you know everything. Don't go there. I know we don't want to lose listeners this early on. I started a podcast called So I Quit My Day Job, which documented me leaving my job and trying to sort of go after this dream to get a book deal. And then along the way, every week I spoke to someone who'd left their job to follow their dream to do something else, which meant I got to like meet these amazing people and feel the joy when they've gone. And then I did this.
But do you know what? One of the most amazing things about that podcast is that it is such a rare thing that you've done, but you were able to find all of these people with these amazingly similar stories, and it all begins, and this is something that I don't have the courage yet to do, but it is that leap of faith. And anyone who's sort of sitting there thinking, do I, don't I, this feels safe and I guess I'm paying my bills, versus you don't want to be totally irresponsible with your life, but chasing the dream. I mean, you found all these people, yourself included, who can do it.
130 guests and counting.
Amazing.
You know? And then by doing a podcast that starts with, I've quit my day job to write a book, 5 publishers reached out to go, what's the book?
Amazing.
And the journey to get the book deal wasn't just like from there to there. It took its own took its own time, and I thought it was going to be fiction and it was this and that. But it was brilliant. It was great. And then we got a podcast deal, didn't we?
We did. So I had
amazing people pay us
something to distract you with when you were having a low point in a chapter. Like, I don't know how to end this, and me doing let's talk rubbish.
Come and join me while we talk about leaving my kids in the car with the window open slightly.
Okay, I mean,
just joking. Just joking.
They're
your stories to tell, Sarah, not mine.
Yeah, to a courtroom, no doubt, or to a counsellor. I get it. No. Let's get into the book. More stories.
Okay.
More stories. First time you lost your virginity.
Oh, Paul Whittaker. That was interesting.
I mean, a full name.
I know he's got his full name in the book.
I know, but in case people hear the podcast, buy the book, they're now going to Google this poor bloke.
But you know what? The wonder of this book was once I got the book deal, because this is the thing. If you write, this is so for people who are listening, you might want to write. If you want to write a book and you've never written a book and it's fiction, you've got to write the whole book before you can shop it around.
Yeah.
If you're doing a memoir, you could just go in on a 2-pager and go, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I get my book deal without having written the book. And then just like I used to be at school, like the deadline, it's like, you've got to get the manuscript in the next kind of 5 months. And I'm thinking, better start. But the one really good thing about COVID and the Sydney lockdown of 4 months was it totally aligned with when I had to write the book. So it was like the universe went, sit there, do not move. Apart from the every other day that you have your son and you have to enjoy homeschooling. That
Say
was
it
a joy.
again with passion.
That was a joy. We used to go more like week on, week off, me and my ex. And then when lockdown came, we both went day on, day off. No one's doing a week of homeschooling. That was horrendous. Anyway, that's when I started to write the book. And it was a little bit like, and I've said this to you before, I'd be in my bedroom and there's so much music sort of layered through the book at different times of my childhood that I'd have the songs on from the 80s when I was getting my, my first rejection at school disco when I was 10. And, you'd be zoomed back to that kind of moment. It was like I'd gone through the wardrobe and come out in Catherine's Narnia, back through Catherine's life. And so I reached out to the people that I've stayed in contact with, like Paul Whittaker, and went, hey, written a sort of chapter about you popping a cherry, happy to change your name. What do you think?
And what did he say?
He was like, happy to be named. Can I see
kidding?
the chapter? And I said, it's fine.
What a fame whore. Paul, I hope you're listening. What are you, chasing some Instagram followers?
It's not. That's one chapter.
Wow, anything that mum and dad couldn't read, because I know your parents. Well, I know they're pretty relaxed about things. They obviously appreciate and support the free spirit that you are, but surely there's still stuff that you thought, I want to be true to the story, my backstory, but I maybe don't want mum and dad to read that.
No, look, the book that publishers bid on was actually originally called Actually I Don't Like Cricket or Blowjobs.
Well, no one likes blowjobs. I mean, let's be clear about
cricket's a
I
bit
love
iffy.
cricket.
I don't mind a one day or a 2020 match.
Please.
But as I say in the book, I don't like cricket or blowjobs, and I suck at both. When I was pitching the book, mum and dad were here. It was just before that very first lockdown, and they're from the UK, and so they were kind of trapped in Sydney. And I was like, look, these are some of the names I'm coming up with for the book. This is one I think is quite funny, but you know, I've got to be honest that some of the stuff is going to be stuff, Dad, for you to skip past.
Yeah.
And possibly you too, Mum. You know, and I've got a 13-year-old son, so I've had to talk him through some of the topics. But then when I went to start to write it, I did have to take off Dad from one shoulder and my son from the other and just go, they're not my target market.
No.
You know, both of them, well, Dad's done a lot of what I've done in the book, potentially, and my son eventually will. So
well, you've just greenlit Lewis's ability to do anything, like any behaviour. He can go, no, Mum, page 72, paragraph 3, you did it first.
And I know, it's like, there's no hiding now. But yeah, there is, I think if you're going to write something and you want it to be authentic, you just have to kind of think about who am I writing it for? And for me, and you know, when my marriage ended, it was 2 weeks before my 40th birthday. Nobody else I knew at that point had been divorced. You and I hadn't met. You could have helped me through it.
I could have been your emotional support dog on the divorce front.
You could have. What happens next? But, there was no one to talk to. There was no one to compare notes with. I remember walking around a bookstore going, why hasn't Bridget Jones got divorced? I need to go through this, and I need to cry, and I need hope and light.
And it's so true, because you say that, and I can share a similar experience, but at the same time, it wasn't something that was as talked about. It was a little bit on the nose. Now, not only are more people getting divorced, but yes, they're more likely to refer to something for support or guidance or just humour around a really stressful time.
So, that's kind of how I ended up writing the book. I thought about me, and not only a divorce. You can come through, a huge significant relationship can end. You don't have to be a divorced or potential divorcee to read the book. But I wrote it for people who I've gone ahead of. Not that I wanted to be a trailblazer for disasters and bursting into tears in the Medicare centre and having some Tinder mishaps along the way. But you want to let people know it's okay and that it gets better and it will take time, but you will laugh again.
Anyone
Anyone
who's had a down in life, a swing down or a moment where they've just lost their footing a bit, I think you can relate. It doesn't have to be, as you say, about divorce. Is there any story that you left out of the book that you can give us as a nugget?
That I left out? God, I couldn't overshare any more about my life.
I say this as one of your closest friends who gets to hear every detail of your day.
What do we have? So I call you. We have this new thing, don't we? I call you if you don't answer. If I call again, it's hey, and the third call is please pick up, something really bad's happening.
You're brushing over this. I had to discipline you the other week and reset a boundary with you because you've started doing the repeat dial, just the one after the other. And I said I couldn't cope because I didn't know if it was emergency dial, because usually when I call you straight back, you tell me you saw something funny like a dog and a bird.
Well, it was a lady following a dog with she had the what she called a poo bag.
Yes.
She had it over the dog's bum, didn't even let the dog do its business. It was just trying to catch it, because I just thought that was a bit much.
As a dog owner, that's not funny. That's your worst nightmare.
Also, I reached out to you for dating advice.
Which is just a terrible idea, because I'm married currently, but it's not as if I've got a back history of getting it right.
I know, but you're very good at, for example, if I've been on the Zoom for, my son's school with parent teacher, and I might have been quite shocked by how handsome one of the teachers was. You pretty much shut that down, didn't you?
Maybe you are my third child now that we keep saying it. I feel like suddenly it's dawned on me I discipline you a fair bit. No, one of the most exciting things, obviously I got a sneaky first glimpse at the book, but then you went off to do, because I had the advantage of being one of your friends, so when I read it I could hear you speaking, and your accent and your style and your humour is so enhanced by the fact, once you've heard your voice, and I think anyone who's now heard you, if you read the book, you'll hear Kath telling you it's even better. But to top that off, you went and did the audio book.
I did. I've narrated it.
Yeah.
It was like a dream come true.
So, I mean, most people just like to do, and I say this because I work in radio, a 30-second ad. And we do it twice, and that's it. And then the producers know that's all I'm giving you, because there's no other layers to this voice. How long did it take you how many pages is the book?
Oh, it's 75,000 words.
Great. How long did that take?
Took a week and a half.
Do you want to cough?
Hang on a sec.
Go for it.
It took a week and a half. I mean, don't you love mums? Mums are just the best, aren't they? So my mum is a retired English teacher. To my knowledge, has never done an audio book, but decided to give me quite a bit of advice on how to deliver. I was like, well, sorry.
Come on, Anne.
Have you been doing audiobooks and moonlighting and not letting me know? But no, I totally take it all on. It was a really exciting process until I got into the space, beautiful space, but as a lady who's 47, lady of a certain age and running a bit hot.
What are you saying?
It was really hot in there. I was like, can we put the aircon on? And they were like, yeah, but not for too long because of the knot. And so, I'm there.
Don't they want to warm your voice? Would that be it?
I just was so hot and bothered. But what I realised is I may be the world's biggest oversharer, but lovely Ben, who, himself a divorced chap, sort of, late 40s like me. I'd never met him.
Date potential?
No, lovely chap, but there's me relaying some of my early, dry humping stories.
Not date potential, got it.
Well, he's listening to my book.
I know.
And as I'm kind of losing my virginity with Ben in the other room, I just went bright red and I thought, my gosh, maybe I'm not the oversharer that I thought I was. And so I went home that night and I was really worried. I thought, God, there's so much of this book that I'm going to have to say in front of Ben. And I just came back the next day and said, look, I actually felt a bit embarrassed saying that in front of you. He's like, oh, no. I said, should we re-record? He was like, no, it's fine. I said, look, pre-warning, there's a lost tampon story coming up in a few chapters. So you might want to be off work that day. And ever since then, he said, I think this book should come with a warning that if you're listening to it while you drive, you may crash because it's very funny. And he said, and I've told all my mates they should get it, even if they're not divorced. I was like, good on you, Ben.
There is a bunch of men that are about to appear around the world who will refuse to go sanitary pad shopping for their partners. No, I don't want to know about it.
They will, yes, you will forever think about me when you see a jar of coconut oil too, once you've read the book. And when the truck makes that beep, beep, beep noise, you will also think of me. But no spoilers.
Don't say why.
No spoilers. We'll just leave that.
We have a language beep on this, don't we? Booktopia said keep it slightly clean.
Keep it. No, did they?
I don't know. Speaking of, before we wrap up, obviously currently between husbands.
Yes, I've only had one.
Yeah, well, I'm ahead of you. I've got two. Had two.
Ooh, no, you're on
one.
Staying at two. Although you always say like another marriage, wouldn't you, or another wedding.
This is not about
Just get a good dress. Stick with James. He's a winner.
I like my husband.
And so do I.
How many are you going for?
Probably just two, really. No, definitely just two. I mean, look, at this point, I just like a date. So, as I said to someone the other day, I didn't even want to write a book, but I feel like this has just become a really great, it's like a dating ad.
It really
Currently between husbands with my gob on the front of it. It should say on the back, call me and just like DM me if you've got potential. If your friend is available and not a Fruit Loop, please set me up.
Also, not to be crass, but in Australia, don't use the term gob when you're about to start dating. I'll explain it it to you when we get out of here.
What? That's my mouth in England.
I know, but it's a different place over here. We're full of convicts. Get your head around that. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Booktopia, for having us.
Exciting.
You're so exciting. Tell me what to read. Beautiful podcast. Congratulations on the book, Cathrine.
Thank you. And congratulations on, we've been doing the podcast for 18 months.
Yeah, we have. Not this one, obviously. But
not another parenting podcast.
Yeah.
It's been number 1 in the podcast charts in New Zealand, Australia and Ireland.
Yeah, that was strange, but it happened.
Yes, and top 15 in the UK.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, we could be in a panto if this keeps going. We could have a Christmas number 1. I'd love to do a panto.
I would too.
Okay.
Although
I'll be the back of the horse, you can be the front.
No, I don't like having my picture taken, so I'll stand at the back.
I don't want my head at your bum either, so let's scratch that.
I'm so short though, the back is probably where I should go. Anyway, this is something else we can figure out off mic.
Off mic.
Yeah.
So lovely to be on their pod.
Book is out now. Jump
Yes.
online, guys. Order it. It is hysterical. You will love it. You will love Kath. And thank you for having us, Booktopia.
Thank you very much.
If you're liking what you're hearing, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Pods.
Chuck us a love heart on Spotify, and if you want to get in touch with the show,
Email us at thebabysitter@novapodcasts.com.au.
Thanks to Cathrine Mahoney and Sarah McGilvray. You can check out their show, Not Another Parenting Podcast, right now over at NovaFM, which will include links to in the description. And you can find links to all books mentioned in the description below as well. Or you can head over to a cool little website called booktopia.com.au. If you enjoyed our show today, drop us a review on Apple Podcasts or a like on Spotify and let us know what you think. Join us on Friday as I sit down for a special discussion episode with the National Portrait Gallery of Australia in Canberra on their incredible new exhibition, Shakespeare to Winehouse, Icons from the National Portrait Gallery in London. Trust me, there's a lot of good authors in this exhibition. Thanks for listening, and never stop reading.